Right now, contractors are quietly saving hours every week using AI with tools that cost $20 a month or less. And today I'm going to show you 5 that are actually working and actually save real time and money. And I've also got a couple of bonus ones at the end that might surprise you. So there's a lot of noise about AI in construction. Every software company is slapping some sort of AI powered tool to their product page. And every conference has a panel about it, and for good reason. There's a lot of good use cases. But when you actually talk to contractors and project managers who are using AI day to day, it can look very different. So here are 5 that I keep seeing come up over and over again that actually deliver genuine value. And number 1 on that is searching for specs and contracts. So this is one where I think most people are sleeping on. Now, if you've ever had to dig through 300 pages of project documents to find one clause, or flick back and forth through a spec book trying to figure out exactly what the fire rating requirements are for a specific area, then this is going to change how you actually work. There's a free tool from Google called Notebook LM. And what you do is upload your project documents, your spec book, your contract, your addenda, whatever you need and anything relevant. And then you just ask questions about it in plain English, like what are the payment terms? What does the spec say about waterproofing for the basement walls? And what are my notice period for variations? Anything that you need a hand on, it's like your assistant to go away and get that. And the cool part is it gives you the answer with the exact page reference, so you can go and verify it yourself. It's like having a search engine built, but specifically for your project documents or really anything you upload there. And then instead of digging through PDFs for 20 minutes, you just ask a question and you get real answer in seconds. Now, it doesn't read drawings that well, but it does work very well with text-heavy documents like the specs, the contracts, project manuals, and standards, etc. That's where it shines. Number 2 is meeting notes that write themselves. And this is actually really underutilized in construction. So this one saves me a ton of time, and it's essentially if you're sitting in a contract meeting with a subcontractor coordination meeting, client calls, and then spending 30 minutes afterwards writing out minutes and action items, you need to try this. There are a few tools that do this, and personally I use Fireflies and the Gemini note taker inside Google Meet. Essentially they sit in the background, they record the meeting, transcribe everything, and then give you a summary with action items pulled out automatically. You can review it, clean up anything that it got wrong, and then you're done. You can send them out. The important thing here is that obviously you always ask permission before you record, but most tools notify anyway before they record. And like I said, this is something that's sort of being adopted more outside of construction, but I think has some real good use cases inside of construction as well. And then the real value is also not just the time saving you get from not having to polish up meeting notes after it. It's that you can actually focus on the meeting instead of trying to scribble down notes, and you catch more of it, you contribute more, and you have a proper record for if anything gets disputed later. And you also give everyone clear action items, so you get some good points out of that. And Copilot inside the Microsoft suite also has this functionality. So I think with that in there, this is going to be increasingly used and is a great tool. So number 3 is contract review and risk flagging. Now, before you sign anything, you can run it through AI first. And this is one of those use cases where the time saving is nice, but the real value is what it catches that you might have missed otherwise. So let's take your subcontract or your head contract. You upload it to Claude and ask it to review every clause and flag the risks. Red for things that could seriously hurt you, yellow for things you need to be aware of, and green for standard terms that are within your company policy. And what comes back is a clause-by-clause breakdown of payment terms, liability caps, or the lack thereof, I should say, liquidated damages, fitness for purpose, notice periods, indemnities, all of it explained in plain English with a recommendation on what to do about each one. It's super cool. And we've actually built a skill inside of Contractor OS, links in the description to check that out, specifically for this. It checks the contract against your local legislation, your company policies, and it flags anything that might not be enforceable, identifies what is missing, and even helps you map out a negotiation strategy. And then you can decide what to push back on, what to concede on, and then what your fallback position should be. Now, obviously, I want to be clear that it's not legal advice. It's a first pass, but it's a really thorough first pass that catches things that you might otherwise miss at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when you're just trying to get through a stack of documents before a deadline. And obviously, there'll still be items your lawyer needs to review. But the big thing is you walk into that conversation being pretty well informed, to be honest. And that changes the dynamic completely. And I actually did a full video on this exact skill recently. So if I can figure out YouTube, it'll be up here somewhere, or catch it at the end of the video. And number 4 is the scope gap check before you submit a bid. And this one ties kind of directly into the contract review we just talked about. But before you submit a bid, you want to know 2 things essentially. Is everything in the tender documents actually captured in my scope? And is there anything that should be there based on this type of project that is not in the documents at all? So basically, am I missing anything? Am I submitting the best tender, most complete tender possible? So what you can do is upload your full tender package, the specs, the bill of quantities, the contract, the drawing list, like all of it, and then ask AI to do 3 things, which is first, extract what is actually being used. First is to extract what is actually being asked for across all the documents. The second is to compare that against what should be there for this type of project and trade. And the third is to cross-check the documents against each other, because the spec will say one thing, the bill of quantities might not have that line item for it, and that gap is where you either miss scope or end up in a dispute, or maybe when you went through the documents originally, you just completely missed something by accident. It happens. And this goes well beyond asking what is commonly missed, because you can do that too, but now you're getting AI to actually read the documents and find the specific gaps in your specific project. And we have also built a skill for this inside of Contractors. So by the time you sit down to put numbers against your scope, you know it's complete, or at least you know exactly where the gaps are, and you can make a conscious decision about whether to include them, exclude them, or query them with the client. So the biggest value can be using this as a double check before bidding, not to do the work for you, but to ask it, did I forget something? Except now it is not just checking against general knowledge, it is checking against your actual tender documents. And this is a very different level of confidence when you hit submit on that tender. And number 5 is emails, RFIs, and just any general professional communication. Now, this is probably the most widely adopted use case out there, and I almost didn't include it because a lot of you are already doing this, but the sheer number of people who say this is their number 1 AI use case means that it has to be on the list. Whether or not you know you can do more or not, it's still on there. So let's say you write a rough draft or something that's sort of barely readable, a bit of a brain dump, and to be honest, is just in general how you feel about the situation. So if you're annoyed about an RFI, that would be a good example for this. And then you take that brain dump and you put it into something like ChatGPT or Claude and essentially ask it to make it professional. And then it comes out clean and well-structured email or an RFI that is actually what you need to say without burning any bridges because you're saying what you feel. The caveat to that is that it works best when you know what you want to say, obviously, and AI just polishes that. It does not think for you. It doesn't create stuff up. For example, if you ask it to write an RFI from scratch without understanding the actual problem, you'll get something that's grammatically perfect and probably technically useless. So ensuring that it has the right context is what will level up your outputs here and ensure that the thinking is still yours. So really, if you're adding a block of text to ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot and saying, make this professional, you're really massively underutilizing the tool. At the very least, you can create a project with all the context of what's involved in there and also give it some well-written examples of what you want out as well. That small thing alone will drastically increase the quality of your output. Now, I did say there's a few bonus ones in here, and this is bonus number 1, and it's actually using Excel and spreadsheet formulas. So most of us in construction, we generally live in spreadsheets, which if you have ever needed a complex formula and it's been hours trying to find the right one, then just ask AI and try. I've been using this a lot recently and it's genuinely really useful and really good. So now you can just describe what you want in English. So you can do this with either Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, basically whatever you prefer. I think all of them now have Excel integrations, but it goes further than just formulas. You can even ask it to build you an entire tracking template from scratch. And then you're getting sort of a second opinion on whether you're tracking the right things or if you're missing something, so you can give yourself a good template to work from. Another good use case that we do a lot of in Contractors is using it to manipulate data. So cleaning up messy imports and just in general spreadsheet manipulation is something that it's really good at. So give it a go if you haven't already. And bonus number 2 is actually field troubleshooting. And this one's come from a slightly different place. So I love mountain biking, but I'm no good at being a mountain bike mechanic. Having said that, when something breaks on the bike out on the trail and I have no idea what I'm looking at, I take a photo and send it to Gemini and ask it what is wrong about it here and how do I fix it. And more often than not, it gives me a pretty solid answer. Now, to take this back to construction, think of it like if you're an HVAC tech and you're using this to troubleshoot some equipment out on site on mid-call, or an electrician asking about wiring configuration, or plumbers checking a code requirements on their phone while they're standing in front of the problem. You're utilizing your own knowledge and experience, but if you're up on a new product or something, it's a great way to find out some information really quickly. The photo recognition capabilities is incredibly strong right now. And so through all of these use cases that genuinely deliver value to the construction industry, there's absolutely a common thread. And you can see with all 7 that none of them are replacing anyone, and every single one keeps the human in the loop. Like the contract review gives you the flags, but you decide what to negotiate. The scope gap analysis finds what is missing, but you decide whether to include it, exclude it, or query it. The meeting notes give you a draft, but you review and correct before sending. Even the field troubleshooting is a starting point, but it's not an instruction manual. So this is what I think can be misunderstood for AI in construction. It's not always about the automation. It's sometimes about giving you a better first draft, a faster search, a second pair of eyes, or a double check. The thinking and the judgment is still yours. AI does the 60 to 80% that is just processing, formatting, and comparing. And then you do the 20 to 40% that actually requires knowing the project, the client, the context, the relationships, and all that side of things. And then none of these are hype. This is no magic button that writes your estimates for you. These are just practical workflow-based use cases where AI can handle specific steps in the process, and then the human checks the output before it goes anywhere. And that is what actually works and also keeps things safe. So those are the 5 plus 2 bonuses that I keep seeing coming up over and over again. And they're from people doing the actual work. The common thread is that none of these require expensive software or a technical background. And it's just knowing what to use it for and how to structure the workflow to make it actually useful. It's giving the AI very detailed instructions and scripts to run by. Now, if you want to go deeper on any of these, then that is exactly what we cover inside of Contractor OS. We have pre-built skills for a lot of these workflows. We have weekly sessions where we can help you set them up and actually use them and answer your questions. And we have everything to keep you up to date with AI in construction and how it's actually working. The link is in the description. And if this is useful, I'd love for you to subscribe. I'm going to be putting out more videos on how AI can actually help the construction industry, the real stuff that actually matters and actually works. And I'll see you in the next one.